I grew up in a town called Baraboo, Wisconsin. And Baraboo, Wisconsin is known among circus aficionados as the birthplace of the Ringling Brothers. So there's a Ringling Museum, there's a summer circus there every year. I grew up all around circuses. Baraboo is also about an hour and a half's drive from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is the home of the Experimental Aircraft Association. So in the summers we would go to their fly-in and just see all these old airplanes and float around. And then when I came out here to Southern California, one of the first things I did was go skydiving. And I was an avid skydiver for several years. And you put the three of those together and you get wing walking.
Master drinkers, welcome back to another exciting episode of Brews with Masters. This week, we're back out in Monrovia, California, featuring Wingwalker Brewing. Obviously, the aviation's kind of the theme here. Was that
It's an element.
Yeah. Were these all like recycled parts from planes that were?
These are. So the bar behind me is a horizontal stabilizer, I think, from a Beechcraft Commander, and then the two end sections of the bar from Beechcraft Bonanzas. They came from an all Beechcraft salvage yard outside of Lodi, California. The wing up there, we suspect, is from a Cessna 182. It came from a nearby salvage yard. And there used to be salvage yards all over and small air parts all over, but real estate prices drove them out. Those are all salvaged. I've got a couple new pieces that came from a used aircraft parts dealer at Cable Airport. They'll be going up in the next week or so. What I wanted to build was a place where I would like to hang out. You can bring your kids, you can bring your dogs. There's games, trivia, bingo, painting. I knew I wanted to have a lot of art. I knew I wanted to have music. That's a goal, is to make the tap room a place where anyone can come in and hang out and have a good time.
We like Wingwalker. It's kind of a more family-oriented place. Bring our daughter in here sometimes and hang out. It's really relaxed. The owner's really nice to talk to, and he always tries kind of new beers and kind of out of the ordinary stuff, and you can always come in here and kind of have a sampler and try something new that you've never seen before. So he has some lagers that are pretty good, like she's having the Flying Circus right now, but he has a little bit of everything, and that's what I like about it. You can have a flight of everything across the entire board, something dark, something light, something more hoppy. So
I think I have a wider variety of beers than almost everybody. I mean, Ryan's does a pretty good job of keeping a variety up, and Pacific Plate does. Pacific Plate pushes the envelope a lot. They like to fool around with tastes a lot. I like to fool around. I like to see what will happen. I am not afraid to put something strange on the menu. There's a couple of strange ones on there right now. Thankfully, they're in small quantities, and not 7-barrel batches, but I taste bitter a little too much, I think, to really get into the whole IPA and New Englands and hazies and this style and that style. I have never been one for pigeonholes. I like to push the envelope. I like to color outside the lines. I failed kindergarten. It's just, now I respect the styles. I will brew inside the styles because I believe you have to know the framework before you're going to start playing around. The Pablo Picasso theory of art. And I want to be, I want to make a good lager. I want to make a good hazy. I want to make a good Belgian or a farmhouse or a Yorkshire.
What is your best known IPA? there are a lot of IPA drinkers here.
Yeah, there's a lot of IPAs. I had an IPA I brewed for Women's History Month and Pink Boots Society called These Boots Were Made for Wing Walking. That probably got the most attention of my IPAs.
I love the name.
I will, if I can get reconnected with Pink Boots, I will probably brew that again. Probably under the same name. It was a great name. I just got a big load of experimental South African hops.
Do tell.
One of the suppliers has a line on experimental South African hops, and I bought the smallest quantity I could, which was 44 pounds, which is a lot for my brew style. And we just put a hazy together on that yesterday, as a matter of fact. It's a single hop. It's a single hop hazy. So I really wanted to see what the hop would do. I really wanted to work up my hazy game, which, in all honesty, was not good. I spent a whole lot of time as a brewer trying to make my beers clear without adding a whole lot of biofine and gelatin and finings and things, and trying to stay within Reinheitsgebot. And so making a hazy turned out to be a little more challenging than I thought it would. So talked to some other brewers. The brewers from Breweries have been really supportive. They've been really helpful, and lots and lots of people are willing to answer questions, come out, do a brew with you, just look at your procedures, and because I had very little commercial brewing experience.
How did you get into brewing? What was the process like?
How did I get into brewing? Okay, I started out for 45 years in entertainment. So I was a designer and a stagehand and a tech and electrician, carpenter, you name it, I did it somewhere. And that got to be a little old, and I got to be a little tired, and did a little work in tech startups, where I met a gentleman who is a beer enthusiast and freelance physicist. And he and I hit it off real well. We liked working together. And then he got a buyout from something he invented, so he had some capital, and we threw in together and put this together.
All right, Pete, thank you for sitting down with me or standing with me so we can try some beer. So what do we have here?
All right, well, here we have two of the beers I helped develop here, which is Revenge of the Night Witches, which is the double IPA version of the Night Witch. But Revenge of the Night Witch sounded a little better since it's a little stronger beer when it comes back. And the Apple Brown Betty, which is technically a Graf, which is half apple cider and half beer. Oh, so man. It's got everything you like about beer, plus a little bit of the tart apple sweetness to it as well. So it's very quaffable. I like it a lot.
I can't wait to dive in. Yeah. Please take me on a tour. Which one should we try first?
Let's start with the Brown Betty.
Okay.
The Brown Betty was a happy accident. It was an attempt to do Weissenbach, and I messed up on the scale and measured incorrectly. So we balanced it out by adding in some apple cider base to get the sugar content up, and it ended up being a wonderful happy accident. So I'm very happy. We might try this again on purpose.
Okay, and what flavor should I be? I mean, obviously I'm gonna get a little bit of apple, a little tartness from the apples.
Apple. And it started as a Weissenbach, so that's why it's still a little hazy, so you do get a little bit. We didn't end up using the Weizen yeast, so we're not getting any of the bananas and cloves you normally associate with the wheat beers, but you are getting a little bit of that wheat hazy, and then you're getting, of course, the tartness of the apple cutting in the back. And then
Got it.
And it was a Karamunk, so it's a little bit of the darker barley hops, or barley malt in there. So.
Got it. Now, just from looking at it, I do see that little bit of a haze to it, like you were saying. Mm-hmm. It is a beautiful golden color. I don't know if it's coming through on the camera there, but let's go ahead and dive on in. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, master drinkers. One for the house.
Cheers. Prost.
That is a happy accident.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
That, I mean, off the nose, I'm picking up the apples, the freshness of the apples. Mm-hmm. right on the nose. As far as the taste, what I'm picking up is the apples at the very back end. Like it rinses away with that tartness, that tart fresh apple taste. Everything about this beer is amazing. I literally...
Yeah. We brought a little bit of hops in, but try not to over-hop it just to overpower the apple.
See, I'm not picking up any hops at all, to be honest with you. I feel like that's just that well balance between the sweetness and the tartness from the apples.
It was super hoppy when we went it in, but then as it aged and fermented, it lost a lot of that sharpness, and it's just in the very background. You just get a little bitter on the tongue just to counterbalance the sweet.
That is just nice. Well done. Happy accident for sure.
Yeah.
Cheers to you.
Now we got to do this on purpose.
Yeah. I'm going to finish that one, so don't judge me, okay? Yeah. That was... Wow. Big fan of this one. Master Drinkers, you have to come out and try this beer.
Please do.
Please do. That was very refreshing.
Now, this one is technically a Graf, which is the half apple, half beer, and I suggested for half a second calling it the Graf Zeppelin. But the Graf Zeppelin was a Nazi airship. I wanted to get the aviation theme in there, but we don't like Nazis.
Don't like Nazis.
That's why we named this beer Revenge of the Night Witches. The Night Witches were a group of Soviet aviators who flew 30-year-old biplanes and killed Nazis in silence in the dark, and then flew away by crawling out onto the wing walking, starting the engines and flying away. So they had to have something named after them because not enough people know about them. But it's a black IPA. We had the first run black IPA was Night Witches. This is the double, so it's Revenge of the Night Witches. But yeah, I'll let it speak for itself.
Beautiful. And what flavors am I going to be expecting out of this beer?
Definitely is a little bit of the nuttiness of the darker ones, and then definitely hoppy.
Beautiful.
There you go.
So, cheers to you.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, Master Drinkers. One for the house. Very nutty, for sure. Little sweetness, dry finish. Get behind that. Dark chocolate is what I'm getting in the back end. It's the hops come through. I get a little bit of dark chocolate, but I love very nutty though in the beginning. That is Revenge of the Night
Witches.
Revenge of the Night Witches. That is something.
And this being the double, it's the imperial strength.
Okay, what's the alcohol percentage on this beer
I
here?
think 7.2. We have it on our handy dandy thing.
7.6%.
There you go.
This will sneak up on you for sure, just like those Night Witches on those Nazis.
And I'm going to be doing carpentry later today, so I am not going to drink all of this.
Okay, not a problem. I'll finish it for you because I'm actually a big fan of this one. This is a really well-made double IPA.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So here we are, standing on the production side of things. There are a lot of breweries out here in Southern California. What separates Wingwalker Brewery from the rest?
Well, a lot of our focus is on more the traditional styles that have kind of gone by the wayside. Everybody seems to want an IPA, everybody seems to want super hoppy or hazy, and some people in the brewing community are of the opinion that a hazy beer is a beer that you messed up. Because hazy beers generally, when you recycle the wort through the grain acts as a filter and separates out a lot of those proteins that make it hazy, so you just don't do that and you make it hazy. And a lot of people like that. But some people like it the more traditional styles. That's why we've been doing a Berliner Weiss. That's why we've been doing a few of the other things that are more traditional styles. I would like to, we've been doing shandies in-house where we just have some. I'd like to see about maybe specifically brewing a beer intended to be a shandy. There's a German version of shandy called Radler. That's a very fine crystal beer with lemonade, which German lemonade is not lemonade, it's lemon soda. But I fell in love with Radler when I was in Germany. And Radler actually also, the name is slang for bicycle because it's to be drunk while you're on a bicycle. So it's enough beer and energy to keep you going, but not enough to keep you drunk and fall off your bicycle. So maybe for summer we'll think about a Radler. But there's a couple
sounds like a lot of fun.
doing.
That sounds like a lot of fun for sure.
But I would really like to get into more of the brewing one large batch and then going into separate adjunct flavors just to see, because there's a lot of complementary flavors that I've always liked. There's a few Citra hops out right now that are really, really citrusy, have that grapefruit flavor, but there's absolutely no grapefruit in there. And I want to see some more of those pairings, but within the beer.
I know you had your 1-year anniversaries a couple of weeks ago. Would you mind elaborating on how that turned out?
It was good. it was, it's always good, and you always want it to be better. I'm a small business
Yeah.
owner. I would like hordes and hordes of people to come flooding into my brewery every night of the week. That's not going to happen, right?
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, not yet.
I'm trying to build this up. I'm trying to build a reputation. I'm trying to maintain brewing quality across staff members, weather, and like your buddies were drinking, equipment failure, and make and just keep abreast of a very dynamic business in a very dynamic time, and see what I can do.
You brought something up earlier that really stood out to me. You said, I don't color in between the lines. I just don't. Yeah, I love that. I really do. I think that's important whenever you're creating something, especially like beer. Because beer, you can essentially start off in one direction, and then in your case, you had an equipment failure, and you completely went left, and it worked out.
Right.
It completely worked out.
It was it's the it's a bad Clint Eastwood movie where you improvise, adapt, and overcome. It's you're dealt a series of obstacles, and you can give into them, or you can tell them to fuck off.